Where Hawaii Eats is brought to you by the Honolulu Star Advertisers Dining Out, Cisco Hawaii, Outrigger Hotels and Resorts, and Coco Marina Shopping Center. Welcome to Where Hawaii Eats. We're in the middle of Waikiki on Kuhio Avenue at Chef Chai's new restaurant, Kalo Hawaiian Food by Chai. Hi.
Aloha, Ann. Thank you for having me.
This is like just us like going to dinner because I see you at least once a week, right?
Yeah.
You feed me at least once a week. Now, why did you want to do Hawaiian food?
You know, if I'm going to Japan, at least one day I want to try truly authentic Japanese food. We have millions of visitors come to Hawaii and there are no Hawaiian food in Waikiki. So why not? So I just thought this is a perfect because I think any visitor or even a local who have any visitor out of town, you have to bring them to try Hawaiian food at least one day.
Okay, so I understand that concept. So what is going to make your Hawaiian food authentic?
Well, I try to learn and study the history and how the traditional local people make. So I get the recipe from other people, they teach me, and I combine with my own cooking technique, and this is what we have. So
without fail, you're gonna make amazing food, without a doubt. So what did you prepare for us today?
Well, for the Hawaiian, so of course we have the lau lau, squid luau, kalua pork, poi, poke, lomi salmon, and haupi. That's a traditional. And this one is the short rib pipi kaula.
That's really good.
That one is very, very good. And I have a great recipe. I just want to say thank you for letting me use it. So we're not gonna mention who. And then of course this is my garlic noodles from my mom's recipe, and this one is a salted pepper fresh Kauai prawns. Of course local people love beef stew. So
that's what we're eating today. Okay, what do we start with now?
Well, I think for me, if I start, of course this is my like to go, right? So short rib pipi kaula. Don't be shy. I think people sometimes you can just use a finger, but look at how thick the thing. It's almost about an inch thick. So that's a technique to make it nice and moist and juicy. And then you just grab your hand.
No, thank you for not giving me one with the bone.
Come on. So nice and moist. Really look at how tender. Right? So that's my favorite. Let me serve you. Garlic noodles. Everybody rave about this one because it's very simple, but it tastes really good as long as you have the right ingredient and you cook it perfectly. So the noodle, not soggy.
It's always consistently good. It's my kid's favorite. I love these noodles. So tell us a little bit of history about where you're from, and because you're the only Thai trained chef in Hawaii.
So I started 32 years ago at my first Thai restaurant, Singha Thai in Waikiki. Then I opened at Aloha Tower. Then moved to Kapiolani about 8 years ago. And now we're back in Waikiki doing Hawaiian food.
How are you managing doing both? Because you're very busy in both establishments.
You have to count your blessing and you're gonna make it work. You can have 2 restaurants, 3 restaurants, 10 restaurants, or 1 restaurant. You just have to do it, right? I think when it comes to it, you just go along with it.
You said that your first restaurant was a Thai restaurant in Waikiki, but you're known for also Aloha Tower, where Chai's used to be, the original location. And you kind of carry that back over to Kapiolani. But then here as well. So there are some signature dishes that you still do offer here.
We try to evolve all the time. I think just like anything else, food change all the time, you know, the presentation, you know, at one time 30 years ago when Chef Alan Wong and Royce, they started the Asian fusion, you know, Hawaii Regional Cuisine, everything stacked up high and all colorful, pretty. I think now people go back to the basic. I mean, if they want to eat Thai food, they want to go to the traditional Thai. You want the Hawaiian food, you go to the Hawaiian. I think the fusion is fading out and they want more exotic. Korean food, Japanese food, or French, they want the real thing.
They want authentic food.
Yes.
Should we try the lau lau?
Oh yes. This one is, inside here have the pork. Look at that, look at that. Now, some people, they like the fatty part, and some people are not into fatty, but look at how nice, how juicy the meat.
That's gorgeous. Thank you.
Now, being in the business for 30 years, we are doing all kind of food because I was working for Hawaiian Airlines. I was the executive chef for 8 years. So we go to so many places. So if I'm going to Australia, so I'm going to offer my food that more tend to European. When we go Korea, we offer Korean, a little bit of Korean influence. So that's how in my cooking, there are no one direction or one cuisine. We all use mix. And same thing on my catering. We offer catering, and whatever food you want, I would do it.
And you are very good at creating wonderful dishes. We're going to pause for a quick break, and in the meantime, Chef and I are going to eat this delicious Hawaiian food, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you very much. This is excellent. Welcome back to Where Hawaii Eats. Chai, we have to try this Hawaiian food.
Of course, now we're going to go to the traditional, real Hawaiian food. Like, for example, this ahi poke. All we do is we put limu, onion, a little bit shoyu, and that's it.
That's it?
We don't want to make it too, because I think the old day, we try to go traditional, you know, the old days in Hawaii, we don't have all the fancy kokujong sauce or anything. So this is how...
That's the way that it was authenticated.
Yes. Right, so when you eat it this way, you eat all the freshness, you eat all natural, you know, right? We have a little bit of sea salt. It's simple, but sometimes that was the best. It's a simple food, you know. You don't want to overdo it. And of course, we have the poi. This one is from Hanalei in Kauai, so Hanalei poi is the best. And some people like 2 days old poi, a little bit acidity. I like fresh poi, especially when we serve in Waikiki. You know, a lot of time visitors, they go to the luau and they have the old poi, and that's the first thing. Oh, it's spoiling, but
sour.
Because if you keep a few days, it will be like that. So if the fresh poi tastes a little bit different, it's a little bit all, like I say again, it's all natural. So it's a little bit sweet, natural sweet. It's not sour. So this is a fresh poi, so different than a 2 or 3 day old poi. And that's, of course, you know, in the old day, they have no refrigeration, right? So to make the poi, you let it sit and it's fermented. And it doesn't go bad, even though it's acidity, but that's how poi. And of course, we have the Kalo pig. This one, traditionally they cook under the ground in the imu. But try this one. We try to make it very, very lean. So not too much fat. I just don't like too much fat.
That's very good. So I have a question.
Yes.
You don't like vegetables, so how do you know the consistency? How do you know?
You try it out. You know, I still remember the first time when I went to a Hawaiian restaurant and they served me this squid luau. I just thought, oh my God, now I have to eat that. It doesn't look at, but the first bite that I have, I was in love. And since then, even though it's vegetable, I love it. So this, of course, is traditional Hawaiian, right? You should try this one. It's just a tallow leaf and you cook until it's tender. We add a little bit of coconut milk, and you can make a chicken, or you can make squid, you can make beef luau, whatever you want to do. So of course, this is also traditional. And this one is the lomi salmon. Lomi salmon is, well, what people told me is, you know, when the missionary came to Hawaii a long time ago, they bring salted fish to exchange with all the salt, the fish, so they bring salmon. So that's how the salmon is come from the West Coast, from the missionary. And then when the Chinese come to Hawaii, this is what they bring, chicken round rice. So this one is Chinese influence, and that. I think we have the best chicken round rice. You have to try. We put lots of ginger in there, because to me, ginger is very, very good for you, and the flavor make it so exotic. And we don't have a lot of, it's not going to be very soupy, it's just flavor. Right? You taste the ginger.
Very good. Very good. So how did Haupia come to the table here?
Haupia the old day, right? Same thing. The Polynesian, you have coconut milk and you just get it out, and then you add a little bit of cornstarch. See, many people make a Haupia all different. Some they put too much cornstarch, not enough coconut milk. Some you don't whip it long enough, it got lumpy. For our Haupia, if you see it, it's so nice and smooth. And that's how it, to me, I think that's how it should be. I want you to try this one.
Oh, this is
Gee,
like
how many spoons you have on your plate? But I think this hawpie is so good. I love the hawpie. And the good thing about this food is many of Hawaiian food are gluten-free. So there are no, because this one just coconut milk and cornstarch, so it's no fat, no fat. The fat and the cholesterol from the coconut milk is a good fat and a good cholesterol.
So you can eat
So
as
it's
much
not
of
animal
this.
fat, yeah.
You can eat lots and lots of this.
This one also, if you are a keto diet, the wrong rice is made of mung beans. So it's lower in carbohydrate compared to other noodle. This one is all vegetable, all the taro leaf. It's all very, very healthy.
But it's very low fat.
Yeah.
You know, people think that it's very heavy, but it's very not. It's very light.
The only
and very
thing
good.
for local food or for Hawaiian food that you have to watch for is sometimes they tend to add too much shoyu or salt. So with us, we try not to.
Thank you so much for sharing your vision and your creations. And we'll cheers to you with your favorite beverage.
And come see us, you know, very easy, very convenient. We right in Waikiki.
And there's valet parking.
Yes, it's right in the Marriott courtyard. Come in. We open every day from 4:30 to 9:30. We're going to open breakfast soon.
Oh, wow.
We can do like Kalo pig omelet. We can do French toast with all kind of stuff.
Well, you will be very, very busy. Cheers.
See you. Thank you for
doing
having
the
me.
show.